The hours after Johnny Depp had left the boutique felt like a blur to Celeste. Her mind raced as she tried to make sense of everything that had just unfolded. The luxury store, once a place of control and power, now felt alien and oppressive. Johnny's words echoed in her head. "You'll see me again soon." But why? Why had he come here, of all places? What did he want from her? The questions twisted inside her, gnawing at her resolve. She spent the rest of the evening in a daze, trying to maintain some semblance of order in the store. But her thoughts were elsewhere. The store's pristine atmosphere had been shattered, replaced by an undercurrent of tension that seemed to cling to the air. She couldn't stop thinking about Johnny's cryptic warning and the strange power he seemed to wield over everyone in the room. Her staff, even the security guard who had turned on her without warning. By the time the boutique closed for the night, Celeste was drained, mentally and emotionally. She sat behind the counter, staring blankly at the luxury items on display, trying to shake off the unsettling feeling that had taken root in her chest. Was Johnny Depp just playing a game? Or was there something much darker at play here? The thought of him, so calm, so assured, haunted her. The next morning, the usual calm of the store was disturbed by a message on her phone. It was from Isabelle, her mentor in the fashion industry, and the tone of the message was unlike anything Celeste had ever received from her. It read simply, "We need to talk. Something's happening. You're in danger." Her heart skipped a beat. What could this possibly mean? Isabelle was always the picture of professionalism, rarely ever sending messages like this, especially not without any context. Celeste felt a rush of urgency. She had to meet Isabelle. She needed answers, and she needed them now. The drive to Isabelle's office was a blur. Celeste's mind kept returning to the previous night, to the way Johnny Depp had so effortlessly turned the tables, how he'd manipulated the situation with such ease. What had been his true purpose? Was there more to the celebrity persona than met the eye? When she arrived, Isabelle was waiting for her in the same sleek, modern office she had always known. But today, Isabelle's demeanor was different. Her face was drawn, her eyes hard with something Celeste couldn't quite place. As Celeste entered, Isabelle didn't greet her with her usual warmth. Instead, she motioned for Celeste to sit, her gaze never leaving her. "Celeste," Isabelle began, her voice steady but laced with concern. "I've been following what happened at your boutique. Johnny Depp, he's not just a celebrity. He's part of something much bigger than you could ever imagine." Celeste's stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "He's a famous actor, Isabelle. Everyone knows who he is." Isabelle shook her head, her eyes darkening. "That's what he wants you to think. Johnny Depp has been moving in shadows, operating behind the scenes for years now. He's part of a clandestine network, an elite circle that controls much of the fashion industry. The people you admire, the designers you work with, the brands you showcase, they're all connected to this web of power." Celeste blinked, trying to digest the information. "Are you saying Johnny Depp is involved in some sort of conspiracy?" "It's not just a conspiracy," Isabelle replied gravely. "It's a system, a network that has infiltrated the very heart of the industry. They don't just control the trends, Celeste. They control who gets to succeed, who gets to fail, and who has the power to remain untouchable. Johnny Depp is one of the masterminds behind it." The weight of Isabelle's words sank into Celeste like lead. She had spent her entire career in the luxury world, believing that talent and hard work were the only things that mattered. But now, the foundation beneath her seemed to crumble, revealing a dark, hidden world where power and manipulation ruled everything. "So, what does this mean for me?" Celeste asked, her voice shaky. Isabelle leaned in, her face serious. "It means that you've caught his attention. Johnny doesn't just walk into stores for the fun of it. He's watching you, Celeste. And it's not just you. He's watching everyone who might be a threat to his empire. And if he's taken an interest in you, well, you need to be careful. There's no telling what he might want from you, but I can promise you one thing. Once you're in his sights, there's no going back." Celeste's mind raced. She thought back to the conversation with Johnny in the boutique, the way he had subtly manipulated the situation, his control over everything in the room. He wasn't just a celebrity. He was a puppet master, pulling strings in ways Celeste couldn't even begin to understand. "I can't let this go," Celeste muttered, more to herself than to Isabelle. "I have to know why he came to me. Why now?" Isabelle's face softened with a hint of sympathy. "Be careful, Celeste. The game Johnny plays isn't one you can win easily. You're not dealing with a man who has anything to lose. He's already won. You're just a pawn. But Celeste wasn't about to back down. She had spent her life fighting for success, and now she wasn't about to let some underground network of elites pull her into their twisted game. "I need to find him," Celeste said, her voice firm. "I need answers." Isabelle gave her a long, hard look, as if trying to gauge whether Celeste was truly prepared for what she was about to face. "You don't know what you're getting into, Celeste, but I won't stop you. Just remember, you may be walking into a trap, and once you're caught, there's no escaping it." With that, Celeste left Isabelle's office, more determined than ever to uncover the truth behind Johnny Depp's visit. The world she had once known was now a tangled mess of secrets and lies, and Johnny Depp was at the center of it all. She would find him, and when she did, she would force him to reveal his true purpose. The final confrontation. That evening, Celeste stood outside a dilapidated building on the outskirts of the city, the location Johnny had somehow communicated to her without words. The building, an old industrial warehouse, looked abandoned, its windows cracked and covered in grime. But Celeste wasn't intimidated. She was too far gone now. She had to know the truth. Inside, the atmosphere was oppressive, the air thick with tension. Johnny Depp stood at the far end of the room, flanked by two men in black suits. His eyes met Celeste's as she entered, and a faint, knowing smile tugged at his lips. "I knew you'd come," he said, his voice low, almost predatory. Celeste didn't flinch. "I'm here for answers. What do you want from me?" Johnny's smile faded, replaced by something darker. "You were never meant to be part of this world, but you've caught my attention, Celeste. You're too smart, too ambitious to ignore. And now, you're in my world." The air grew heavier with every word. Johnny stepped forward and Celeste felt a surge of dread. This was no longer just a conversation. It was a reckoning. "You can't control me," Celeste said, her voice steady. Johnny chuckled darkly. "We'll see about that." The moment his words hung in the air, the men in suits advanced toward her. But before they could reach her, Celeste acted swiftly, pulling the diamond necklace from her bag. The same necklace that had arrived at her boutique, the one that Johnny had somehow sent her. She held it up, catching the light. It shimmered like a beacon of defiance. Johnny's expression faltered for a brief second. "You think this changes anything?" But Celeste knew. The necklace was a symbol, a token of power, and she wasn't going to let him control her anymore. "I'm done playing your game," she said firmly, turning to leave. Johnny's eyes narrowed, his gaze seething with something Celeste couldn't place. "You'll regret this." But as she stepped out into the night, the world around her seemed to come alive once again. Johnny Depp's web of control, his empire of secrets, would no longer hold power over her. She had made her choice, and there was no turning back.